Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, sub for Chiefs Dub. Subscribe to the channel if you want to celebrate a bunch of victories this upcoming season. We're just over 2 weeks away from the regular season opener against the Detroit Lions on Thursday Night Football. Big show ahead, so stay with us. I'm Harrison Graham, filling in for Jace Andrews as he'll be back later in the week as he's completing his move to Dallas here. But today's show is presented by True Classic. Go to trueclassic.com/chat25. That code chat25 going to get you 25% off their awesome polos and other clothing as well. We appreciate True Classic for once again sponsoring the Chiefs Report. On today's show, we're going to take a look at some new cut candidates as Kansas City has one preseason game to go, and I think some new names potentially on the chopping block based on what we've seen in camp and in the preseason so far. Some key dates to know leading up to those cuts. Obviously, the preseason finale against the Browns on Saturday, and then it's roster cut down day next Tuesday, August 29th. All 32 NFL teams will have to trim their 90-man rosters down to 53. So a lot of dreams come to an end for several players, but a lot of guys on the bubble fighting for those final spots. Let's break some of those guys down. Some potential cut candidates. Blaine Gabbert. Now, I know some of you guys watching are probably like, Blaine Gabbert, he's actually played pretty damn well in the preseason, and I don't disagree with you. I actually think he really has. You look at his numbers, he's 11 of 16, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. He's only missed a couple of throws in my eyes. But then you look at Shane Buechele, 21 of 28, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did throw the 1 pick early on in his first preseason game, but came back, rushed for a touchdown last week, went a perfect 10 for 10 last week. And Andy Reid acknowledged on Monday here today that the QB2 battle is close. Like, it's not necessarily leaning one way or the other. But in my eyes, I feel like the Chiefs have been waiting for Shane Buechele to make a jump and be trustworthy of being the number 2 quarterback. Like, they've liked him enough to keep him as an active number 3, but inactive on game day behind Chad Henne. But they're giving him that chance to be the backup this year. And while Blaine Gabbert has had a good preseason, I think Shane Buechele is ready to be a backup. It's a 3rd year in this system, 3rd year in the NFL. I think the Chiefs might keep 3. They've kept 3 the last couple of years. But if it's one or the other, give me Shane Buechele. He's young, he's still developing, and I think he's ready for that backup role. So if they do have to cut one of these guys, I'm going to cut Blaine Gabbert. Who is QB2 in your eyes? I know Andy Reid says it's not a done competition, but to me, unless Shane Buechele just has an absolute dud in the preseason finale, I'm giving him that opportunity. I think he's ready for it. So I'm typing my SB for Shane Buechele. If you're not ready to take that step, type BG for Blaine Gabbert. Let us know down in the comments. Oh, our sweet Prince. Deneric Prince. Is he on the chopping block? I don't think he's for sure done yet, but I think if they had to cut down today, he would not make the 53-man roster. I think the Chiefs would carry 3 backs, and it would be Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I don't think CEH has been special by any means, but Deneric Prince has not wowed us like I think we were hoping. His training camp hasn't been as good as his OTAs and minicamp were. He hasn't really had any flash plays either on special teams or in the run game. Did rush for a touchdown, but he's averaging less than 3.5 yards per carry on 10 carries. Our sweet Prince might get cut, guys. Now, the good news is I don't think he's played well enough that he would get poached. He'd be a prime practice squad candidate, and I do think the Chiefs would keep him around. But as far as making the 53, I think the only way he makes the 53 is if a trade partner does emerge for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because I don't think they'll cut him because cutting him saves no money. Trading him saves $2 million, so I think they'd be open to doing that. But with Edwards-Helaire not showing a ton in terms of having trade value, and with Deneric Prince not having an awesome preseason, I think he could get cut and could be relegated to the practice squad. All right, guys, I want to tell you about the awesome clothing from True Classic. I'm rocking one of their polos today, and look, when summertime gets here, it's hard to find clothes that make you feel comfortable, especially with, I don't know where all you guys live, but it's hot as hell in Dallas, Texas. Like, it is so uncomfortable when you just step outside. Well, these very breathable polos that they have, along with their awesome fitting t-shirts that show off the right parts of the body, right? The arms, the chest. They're going to hide that beer gut if you've got one like myself. Seriously, you have not lived until you've worn some of these perfect fitting tees from True Classic. They're very soft and cut to highlight those right parts of the body, like we said. Plus, they come in jumbo packs, 3-pack, 6-pack, 9-packs, because we all hate to do laundry. You're going to have plenty of clothes until, of course, eventually you have to do laundry, but you can get more bang for your buck as well. And by the way, the shorts, put it this way, once you try them on, you'll never go back to your other short brands. They're very comfortable. You can rock them at the gym. You can rock them at happy hour. You can rock them at work even, if depending on your company, if you have a short policy or not. Very awesome, good-fitting clothing for affordable prices as well. And we got a deal for you, 25% off when you go to trueclassic.com/chat25. That code chat25 is going to get you 20% off at checkout. So check the comments, check the description, trueclassic.com/chat25. They're going to hook you up today. I recommend the dry fit polos. They're very, very comfortable. Go play a round of golf. trueclassic.com/chat25, code chat25. For 25% off. Let's go to the next cut candidate, and I am not rooting for this to happen, but Justyn Ross, there is a scenario where he still gets cut. Now, I would be disappointed by this. I think he deserves a roster spot, but it's a crowded room, man. You go 8 deep right now. Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Skyy Moore, Rashee Rice, Richie James, Justyn Watson, Justyn Ross, Ihmir Smith-Marsette. You would have been 9 deep if Nico Remigio didn't get hurt. Cornell Powell's even had a good preseason. Like, you're crowded. Now, Andy Reid has said the Chiefs will keep either 6 or 7 receivers. So, if the Chiefs keep 7, I think Ross is for sure safe. If they keep 6, though, there's going to be a hard decision. I mean, even cutting Ihmir Smith-Marsette at this point is a hard decision with the way he's looked in the preseason. I think he might get poached by another team if he gets cut, but this is kind of the way I see it. The left side of your screen, I think they're all locks. Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Skyy Moore, Rashee Rice, they're not going anywhere. There's no scenario in my eyes where they don't make the roster, unless they suffer a major injury and you have to put them on IR. So that's 4 spots. Justyn Watson had a touchdown this last week. We know the Chiefs like him, Mahomes and Andy Reid. I listed him as bubble, but I think he's on the right side of the bubble. Now, Richie James is an interesting one. Had a huge first preseason game. Didn't do much in the second one, but he was the first kick returner out there with Deneric Prince kind of taking a back seat. So I think he's been on the right side of the bubble for the most part. And then you got Justyn Ross, who's on the bubble, and Ihmir Smith-Marsette, who's been trending up. I like Justyn Ross. I think he's had a great camp. Had a touchdown in the first preseason game, but most teams don't even carry 7. If the Chiefs do, I guess he'll probably make it. But if not, someone's getting cut. To me, I would keep Ross, but you would almost certainly have to cut one of these 3 guys if only 6 receivers make it. So I ask you, Chiefs Kingdom, which one are you cutting? Justyn Watson, type JW, Richie James, type RJ, Justyn Ross, type JR. I would cut Watson or James because they kind of do similar things. They have return value, special teams value as a whole, and they're like a secondary receiver, right? And I would keep Justyn Ross, the 6'4", 210-pounder that gives you a different look. But as a backup receiver, you got to have special teams value. Ross isn't as good on special teams. So it's a tricky one. We'll see what happens on cutdown day. Prince Tega Wanagho is next up here, as he was initially listed as, I believe, the backup left tackle, with Wanya Morris as the 3rd string on the initial depth chart. But Wanya Morris was a 3rd-round pick, so he's not getting cut. And I think he's played pretty well in the preseason up to this point in time. Obviously, your starters there, they're all going to make it. Nick Allegretti's going to make it. I think Lucas Niang's had a pretty damn good camp, and Wanya Morris is going to make it as well. So, if they carry 9, are they going to go with a 5th tackle? I think the Niang and Morris combination as your backup tackles might squeeze them out. I think Tega Wanagho could be a practice squad type of player. So we'll see. I know the Chiefs like him. He was on the 53 for most of last season, but becomes a numbers game, especially when you go out and draft a swing tackle in the 3rd round. Tershawn Wharton, another player here who maybe this surprises you, maybe it doesn't, but obviously tore the ACL last year, which caused him to miss most of last season, which was unfortunate because he had a good first couple of years in Kansas City. But now, he's kind of in an interesting spot because defensive tackle isn't a super strong position on this roster right now, especially with Chris Jones holding out. But Danny Shelton's had a good camp. Daniel Wise has had a good camp. Derek Notty's not going anywhere. And you drafted Keandre Coburn. So what's going to happen with Wharton? Oh, and by the way, he banged up his knee again. So you're in a tricky spot. Now, what is going for him is he can also play some edge. Charles Omenihu was suspended the first 6 games, so that could help his chances. I think it's 50-50. Like, I think him getting banged up again really hurts his cause. You could IR stash him for the year, but I don't think you want to do that. Like, you got to make a decision. Maybe you bring him through initially, and then you put him on short-term IR. That could also be a possibility for Tershawn Wharton as well. Now, name a surprise Chiefs cut candidate. Who is someone that I may have mentioned or may not have mentioned that could get cut, and that would be a surprise? Justyn Ross would surprise me, but I could see it still. You got a lot of receivers in that room right now, and someone is going to be unhappy after roster cutdown day. All right, guys, my name is Harrison Graham. Again, it's been a pleasure bringing you videos on the Chiefs Report. I believe I'll be back tomorrow on Tuesday. I think Jace is back Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see. He's still completing his move, so excited to help him through this process. Hopefully the first watch party was a good time for everyone involved. Until tomorrow, go Chiefs.